up our fearless leader, Brad, the first lady of movie torture, Hannah, and Minnesota Gary, and not last but not least, the myth, the man, the legend, MTD.
And I don't think he's in the crowd. He missed
Oh,
it.
he said hello.
Oh, he did? Okay, good.
Hello, never
No,
mind.
that was me. I said hello. MTD texted me just now and said, "Are you on?" And I responded, "Just went on," but I think he missed his intro. Let's tell him when he comes on, he had the best intro of all time.
I'm going to tell him you forgot again.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I like that better, Hannah.
I won't say anything.
My honor.
Oh, he just texted, "I heard it."
Yeah.
He's not coming in. Is he just watching? He's not going to join in the...
And I should add, today we were watching Fear. Very young Mr. Mark Wahlberg himself.
Very handsome, Mr. Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, my gosh.
I think so myself.
And a young Reese Witherspoon.
That's true.
I mean, yeah. She looked like she was 14 in this movie. I was confused
what
about
she was
the
supposed to look
ages.
like in this movie, but that's just a whole nother story in itself.
Every bit of 12.
Yeah.
This movie, Minnesota Gary, was the reason we did Fear is because with Hannah, we did Flight Risk, and that was the only other Mark Wahlberg movie where he's a bad guy. So we were like, Hannah, you got to watch Fear now. So at the end of this, Hannah, we want to ask you which one. I'm going to ask you now. Who is scarier, the Mark Wahlberg in Flight Risk or the Mark Wahlberg in Fear?
That's really hard. After watching both of these movies, I honestly just don't feel like I can trust Mark anymore. I feel
Mark is out.
betrayed. That's really hard. I don't know. I think
Hands down, it's got to be
it's a
Fear.
little bit worse. Like because he was in love with her, actually, like obsessed in a bad way, but in love with Reese Witherspoon in this movie, and I think that's creepier. Because in the other one, he was just doing it for money. I guess he's still crazy, still terrifying, but I think it's scary to have someone coming after you and your family who's doing it in the name of love.
Yeah, we got to unpack a lot of the mistakes that she made in this movie that she should not have done with this weirdo.
Really? She made mistakes?
I'm just like, should I wait? MTD is MTD in the? Is he in the chat yet? He said now. I don't know. Is he in the chat? How much did this movie make, and what was the budget? MTD on Fear. 1996. I do know this movie was made in 1994, which puts Reese Witherspoon at 18.
Yep.
And Mark Wahlberg at 25.
I knew it. Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know how big the age gap was, but later in this movie, I was like, she looks like she is 14, and he looks like he's 22, and it's about 7 years difference. So,
well, I had my wife convinced. I was like, she's only 13 in this movie, and my wife was like, really? I said, and he's 25, and I did it right when they were doing like the Ferris wheel scene, and
Poster.
she's like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. He's not that much of a perv. I did wait for Chris Hansen though. I thought Chris Hansen would show up. Made almost $21 million.
wow.
Dang.
That's a lot of money in '96, man.
Yeah.
What was the budget?
He doesn't know the budget. He said he couldn't find the budget. But
The first lesson in this, before you do recap, we get lesson number 1 right out of the gate of this movie. And this is like a PSA for all our young kid fans is stay in school. Don't skip class, and you'll avoid the Mark Wahlberg syndrome.
Yes. Unless you're homeschooled.
Yeah, homeschool. Well, I think there's a lot of daddy issues in this movie, and no amount of homeschooling can even fix that. So
It's true. It's true.
So do you want the recap of this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
So Marky Mark leaves the Funky Bunch and he meets Elle Woods. before she makes it to Washington. And he's like, "Hey, I find you very attractive." And then she's like, "Oh, okay." And then her dad.
Oh, no, she made eyes at him first.
Oh yeah, she did make eyes at him, and she's best friends with Samantha from Who's the Boss, Samantha Maselli, and she ends up dating Mark Wahlberg, hooking up with Mark Wahlberg, and then Mark Wahlberg becomes. I mean, he then just can't do anything without her. She catches him making out with like Samantha Maselli, and now she doesn't like him. And then he comes over to kill her family, and then he ends up getting thrown from the house, and kaput. The movie's over with.
Like 50 feet, it seemed like.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a big house.
Dead
Yeah,
upon impact.
Yeah, I kept thinking he would wake up, but let's not start at the end. Let's start at the beginning, because this movie is straight crazy. I mean,
It is.
There is so much going on.
So, yeah, like Candace said, she first is making the eyes at Mark Wahlberg because she's like, he's up there.
Were they at a bar in the beginning?
They went
It
to
was
a
an underage
She's
club.
in a bar when she's in high school.
I feel like we were watching Minnesota Gary or Producer Gary's life, where they hang out with chicks, but the chicks don't like them. I feel like that's what.
That's really mean.
No, it's true.
It's true, though.
It's true.
It's true.
This guy had like two. He had 2 solid 8s, and
I got
he's
no
not
ways.
dating either. Yeah,
He was like the gay best friend,
Here's
except
the thing.
he wasn't gay.
This is what it is. He was friend zoned, hardcore, but he really, really wanted to date either one of them, especially Reese Witherspoon. So he was fine being in the friend zone because he was waiting for his time. He was waiting for his day.
I mean, first off, forget Reese Witherspoon. I had a crush on Samantha Maselli. I would have been wanting to date Alyssa Milano. I'd have been like, "Hey, man, you can have Reese Witherspoon. Let me date Alyssa Milano." And not now because she's a nut job. But back then, yes. But TD, look at him. He says I hate her now.
Reese Witherspoon was way hotter.
You think? I don't know, man.
Yes.
I don't know. Alyssa Milano way easier. I mean, that's for sure from this movie.
Yeah, one is like the picture of innocence, and one is the picture of not.
Yeah. So, okay, let's before we get to the bar, because if they remade this movie today, that best friend is definitely going, "Hey, girls." I mean, he's definitely a gay dude if they did it today, right? Like, there's no way around it. He's a gay dude. But
Yeah.
I want to say this, Hannah, Minnesota Gary. Did you think the dad was making eyes at his daughter when she came in the kitchen?
I wrote it in my notes. I wrote it in my notes. I was like, the way that he is looking at her outfit right now is creepy. I was for sure that was going to be part of the storyline. I was like, what the heck am I watching right now, Brad?
I thought it was his stepdaughter. I was like, he's eyeballing the stepdaughter, which makes it a different movie. But he was like doing like this right here.
The fact that it's not his stepdaughter, it's a different movie.
If they only lived in West Virginia, this movie would have been great.
No, it was weird. And then like she was getting ready for school in the scene. I was like, is she 14? I don't understand.
So in the movie, she is supposed to be portrayed as like 15. Like,
so she was 16 in the movie.
She can't drive, right?
16,
Say her age, but
she was 16.
Yeah,
she's a young 16. She's like, I just got my learner's permit 16, right?
Yeah, she's still a baby.
She had like bobby socks on. I mean, she looked like a girl MTD would have liked back in the 50s. That's what she looked like.
In the 50s?
I'm just kidding.
He's at 85?
No, he's not. He's a young 60. Bobby socks and bow tie, or what is that? I don't know. MTD, what's that song? Bobby socks and I don't know. It's something. But anyway, the dad is creepy in itself, and I feel like the dad and the mom hate each other. I feel like they don't even like each other.
They're not married, but
They are that. They are married.
They were married. She wasn't just a girlfriend?
No, that's the mom. That's the stepmom.
Yeah.
Mm.
The brother is both of theirs, I think,
wasn't
right?
sure why they were still together.
No, the brother is
The mom, the
mom's
Laura's son.
because he calls the stepdad's on the phone, right? Or with the stepdad, right? The stepdad's on the phone with the dad.
The son was calling his real dad, but then ended up calling his stepdad dad. And so Reese Witherspoon's real dad, if he could connect the dots, was really excited about that because he was like, "Oh, he called me dad."
Well, no, but I feel like there was a scene where the dad was talking about her ex-husband, saying he's, missing another weekend or something, and he's, hanging out with his chicks or something like that. I don't know. Am I wrong?
It's a weird Partridge Family where he's bringing the daughter, she's bringing the son, and they're conjoining together as one big happy.
Yeah.
Except they brought no chemistry. There was no chemistry between these two. I mean, it was like watching a wall act with another wall.
Well, I mean, he kind of was a wall. He's not a fun guy.
Which other false scene here? Okay, Reese Witherspoon and the boy were like best friends. They were like no. If I got a step sibling, I'll punch him in the head. We're not friends. Like, she was very sweet to him and very nice to him, and
he was little. And again, like she's supposed to be a picture of innocence, so she's not going to be nasty to her stepbrother.
I wasn't buying the innocent act though. I thought, she's not that innocent. What'd you say, Gary?
I said she liked it.
I think she did. That
doesn't mean that she didn't like it. Just it was still new to her.
Okay, but if I had a daughter and Alyssa Milano picks her up, I'm like, I don't think you're going out tonight. I feel like you're going to be going somewhere. And was this an underage club? Did they let them in? Was it an overage club? Was it 21 and older club? Because those girls did not look old enough to be in there.
Well,
this was 96 or 94, I guess. These were different times. I don't know what the club rules were.
But I mean, there's definitely statutory going on here, right?
Yeah.
There's some statutory.
It was during the day, so it could have been,
Wait, that was during the day?
Yeah, because they left school early to go.
Yeah.
Who's in a club during the day?
Apparently, Mark Wahlberg playing pool.
I've never seen any club like the kind of clubs that they depict in this movie. Because then the second club that they go to later when they're at the concert, whatever they were going to see, I was like, I've never seen a club like that in my life. And
I've been in a club like that. That one.
You have?
Happened. Yes. But
I've just never in my life seen people dance like that at a real club. I've only seen that in movies.
Here's my problem with clubs. Like, when I was in the Navy, everybody wanted to go to clubs. Like, we got to go to the clubs. And I would be like, cool, let's go to the club around 7. And they'd be like, no, you got to go to the club at 10. And I'm like, I'm going to go to bed at 10 o'clock. I don't want to go to a club at 10. I can't spit ribs at a club at 10.
For the party life, Brad.
You from the 50s, Brad's going like, let's go to the club at 7. Let's tear up the rug.
Hey, Don, you want to go to the club at 7 o'clock? We're going to tear the rug up.
Sounds like the bingo club. That's what you're going to.
Minnesota Gary, have you ever been to a bingo club?
I have not. That'd be fun.
He ate dinner at 4. Yes, I did. I like that. I'm an old man.
My future wife.
When you're at 4, bed by 9.
Minnesota Gary, what is the oldest chick you would date?
Wait, first of all, how old are you?
30.
He's 51. He's 30. He's 31 or 30. Is it 30?
I'm 30. 30.
Okay. Who's the oldest chick you would date?
40, 45.
Wow. Hold on, Gary. We've talked. I think you would date 70 because you said if they're old, then they'll die sooner and you'll make money.
Gary!
Hannah,
What?
Would it be good for Minnesota Gary to go on a singles cruise?
I don't even know that that's a thing. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody. You're just gonna have a bunch of thirsty people on there that you don't need to be around. They're not gonna be good people.
MTD says Gary's a player. I don't think MTD's ever uttered that about producer Gary. I don't think he's ever uttered that. What'd you say, Minnesota Gary?
Producer Gary has had 5 wives. That's the epitome of a player.
Yeah, but he can't keep them. See, Minnesota Gary's gonna marry once, and then that's it. There's no more.
Exactly.
He's gonna marry
she's
that
dead.
chick, and that's it until she dies, and then he'll remarry again a younger chick.
Her daughter.
He'll be older. Oh, he's gonna marry her daughter.
He did not just
Wow,
say
he's already
her
got it
daughter.
planned out. Listen, ladies,
Hey.
if you're listening right now, Minnesota Gary is single. Hit us up, Movie Torture Pod on Instagram, and let us know if you would want to date Minnesota Gary.
What's Minnesota Gary's
you.
real name? Is this under wraps? Like MTV?
Yeah, it's Minnesota Gary. That's all we'll call him on the show.
I don't like that. You like whisper it. What's the real name?
It's Troy.
Oh, we can't call him Troy. Jacob, can we call him Troy on here?
No.
I won't call you that. That reminds me of High School Musical.
What, Minnesota Gary or Troy?
Oh, Troy.
Oh, I've never seen High School Musical.
Oh,
Gary.
we torture with that.
Oh, what's the youngest you would date, Gary?
24, 23.
He told me 17 in private, but he didn't. I'm just kidding, Anna. He did not. Listeners, he did not say that.
You better stop
Soon
spreading
to be the
rumors.
cops at my place.
Hey,
How you doing? I noticed you've been texting. Would you like some cookies, Minnesota Gary? I've got your text history with her right here. You know, Chris Hansen.
Oh,
true crazy story. Okay.
Okay.
And remember, I lived a crazy life before Jesus came into my life. Thank God for that. Okay. 17, I dated a 34-year-old, and I brought her home to meet my mother.
Oh, that's crazy.
And my mother was the same age, we're almost the same age.
Hey, mom, I brought you a friend.
Because at the time, my mom was 37.
Ooh, that's wild.
Here's the thing. I feel like it's different for dudes because if Max was 17 and about ready to graduate high school, and he brought home a 34-year-old chick, my wife would hate it, but I'd be like, that's pretty good. He's pulling some old chicks, man. He's pretty good.
That's not a good thing. I don't understand.
But if Max was a girl at 17 and a 34-year-old man came over, I'd be like, nah, you gotta leave, dude. You ain't are not gumming around my daughter. It's not
There's
happening.
that double standard.
It is a hardcore double standard. It's such a hard double standard. I'd be like, if you're coming around, you gotta at least wear a scream mask. You can't just come in here and
No. That's
the second pod I've dropped that joke.
Yeah. It needs to not be dropped anymore.
I feel like Marky Mark would have liked the scream mask.
I love that
In
you
his-
call him Marky Mark because that's exactly how I wrote it in my notes.
There's Marky
Well,
Mark.
I know I've shared this on the Ask Hannah the same question. Oh, MTD wants to know what's we know the youngest. Hannah would not go. We talked about this, MTD.
I'm so intrigued, Brad. Please tell me what I would not do.
Well, Hannah's 41, and she would not date any. No, Hannah would not. She does not date younger. We've established this with Gary because we've tried producer Gary and Hannah.
Okay, I have dated younger, just not that much younger.
Yeah, she only likes a year, basically a year or two beneath her. Right? Am I right? I know you well enough to know if I pitched a 23-year-old, you're like, no dice.
It would highly depend on the 23-year-old.
What about a studly 30-year-old that lives in Minnesota? I'm just saying.
That's only 3 years difference. 3 years isn't bad. But like,
What would be...
What about 55?
okay, so when I was
what about 75?
Hold on, let's hear the 55 first.
I would not date a 55-year-old. When I was 22, 21, I dated a guy who was like 42. In the past, and I made bad decisions. Okay, I wouldn't do that now. I think the oldest. I honestly, I don't think that I would go 10 years older than me. I used to. That used to be exactly what I went for, but now I'm like, I just think you have issues. If you're really going for someone 10 years younger than you, I think you have issues.
What do you think? How do you think producer Gary would feel if you've said no to his courtship plenty times?
Not
on
the
here,
courtship.
and you end up with Minnesota Gary, the other Gary.
I don't think he could because Gary is much younger than me. Minnesota Gary is not insanely older, but he's still older. So like I don't feel like producer Gary could have anything to say about that. To be
I
honest.
still think producer Gary would be like, you chose another Gary and not this Gary.
You know, he'd be like, "That's fine. That's exactly what he'd say."
Could we
I got a
do
hobby
it?
farm.
He would be. MCD says he would be so hurt. He would be. We should do.
Crushed.
Could we do a reality show where the two Garys vie for Hannah?
Can we
call it A Tale of Two Garys?
We could rate
hold on.
their dates that they take
A
me on.
special edition of Movie Torture, Love Connection style. We
Oh
bring
my
on
gosh!
3 dudes, but they don't turn on their cameras, and Hannah's got to ask them questions and go contestant number 1.
Yeah, but I feel like she would recognize producer Gary going, "What was that question again?"
We
And
can
then
we can use voice changers.
she would hear Minnesota Gary and go, "Yeah, that sounds like Minnesota Gary."
That would be entertaining.
A Tale of Two Garys. I would like that. We need to see that reality show.
Two Garys.
Hannah and her Gary.
So is
I
that
just,
a no?
appreciate, I just appreciate how invested you are in my love life.
Half loaf.
The half loaf love. I mean, that's
Hey, I'm about to get a half loaf tattooed on my arm.
that is this, Minnesota Gary. Have you listened to the Clifford episode yet?
I have not. No.
Well, that's homework. You've got to do that. It's the part of the show.
You
That's
have to
like-
go back to the beginning and listen all the way through to get the backstory.
Okay.
Yeah, then you'll learn what the half loaf means. Hannah is
Okay.
the spokesperson for half loaf love.
Okay, that made me feel really single, and I don't really appreciate it.
At her
Call her out.
wedding. Oh, first off, Hannah, I want to go
Yes.
ahead and make this. Wait, your brother's a pastor, right?
Not anymore. He used to be.
Okay, so I want to throw my hat in the ring to officiate your wedding. First off,
There's some hesitation.
I know. I'm like, why is there hesitation? Why?
Because, like, I know who I do want it to be.
Oh, and it's not me. Oh, Hannah. I'm
Well,
so
that would be a
crushed.
clear no.
He's like a spiritual dad to me.
Okay, that's okay. I'll let you have that. I better get an invite. I'm just saying, I better get in.
100%. Yeah.
I better
You
get
can-
invited.
You can make Brad a flower girl.
No, I would like the people to stay.
And just throwing it out there, the cast of Movie Torture should get invited to your wedding.
I agree.
Like Jacob, Laura, me. We should all. My wife, if she wants to go, she'll be there.
I hope she wants to go.
She would want to go. Max can be your ring bearer. I mean, you got Max.
He's
What
gonna
if
be
you had a
so
movie
awful.
torture?
At this
What,
point, he's going to be a college graduate before I have my wedding.
Hannah?
I'll
What
be
if
the groom.
you? Oh, that was a good line.
Did you say you'll be the groom?
Yeah,
That was,
MTD wants to know, what about him? Is he invited?
yes.
He
I
has
would
to.
What?
say you could be the one to give me away, but it's probably going to be one of my brothers. But yes,
What if we do your wedding on Movie Torture? Just stream the whole thing.
Ooh, now that would be a nice gimmick we could do.
I don't want my wedding to be a gimmick. If I'm being so very honest.
What? Can we put everyone on Movie Torture in your wedding? Like, the guys will be the groomsmen with your brothers, and Ashley will be your one, and Laura will be your maid of honor and bridesmaid. That's it. We just have a Movie Torture themed wedding,
I
and
love-
at the reception we play the 100th episode clips over and over for people to hear.
No.
I love how we're taking this most creepy movie Fear in its context and now turning it into Hannah's wedding plans.
Yeah, well, I have fear about the wedding plan.
I'm just glad we're
Really
gonna get
going off the
invited,
rails.
Jacob. I'm just glad. In Minnesota, Gary, maybe you'll get invited as the groom. We don't know.
Oh,
He'll be my
what a
plus
fiance.
one.
You're her plus one. I just want to see producer Gary want to fight Minnesota Gary for Hannah. Oh, that'd be the best. Oh my! You weren't on the show, but
Stand up when the pastor asks if anyone has a reason that these two cannot get married.
Gary would. Oh, that'd be so. Were
That
you
would
on the
be
show,
hilarious.
Hannah, when we were talking about? Was it Jonathan? Was saying who would win in a fight with me and producer Gary? Was you on that episode? And I was like, if me and Gary were fighting, I would just kick his legs out from under him. And Jonathan said, I'm so mean.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's where I would attack his MTV.
That's messed up.
That's messed up. We love producer Gary on this show. And I've said that joke to his face, so he knows I'm joking. But it's
okay to send it to his face.
It's okay if you say it to your face, right?
I agree with that. And like if you're gonna say stuff behind my back, be willing to say it to my face at least.
Well, I read on Instagram there was a poll and it said like 70% of true friendships last the longest when you razz your friends, because that means you're okay to tell them that something doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so, like you can't build friendships based off lies and fitness.
Yeah, that's why I think people listen to us. I hope they know we're all actually true friends on here because we pick on each other all the time.
We do.
I think they know.
Yeah, and now we got Minnesota Gary to pick on. So we don't always have Gary, but we always have Gary. It's like this podcast attracts Garys. But back to this movie. So where were we? He's like, hey, I really like you a lot. I'm Mark and the Funky Bunch. Come hang out with me. And
he's got this like suave, cool look on him as he's going up to,
I mean,
he is so cool, man. Like, I wish I looked as cool as Mark Wahlberg. I was like, God.
And Reese Witherspoon's like smitten immediately.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, look at this.
Well, he played the part so well. There was their intensity, the intensity in his eyes. I was like, oh my gosh.
This was his first movie, by the way.
Was it? He killed it. He did such a good job.
This was his first movie, and she hadn't done much either before this, right?
I don't think so. No.
So I read that Leonardo DiCaprio was wanted for this role.
Oh,
it'd have been terrible.
You think?
What? Explain. Yes. Explain.
I think Mark Wahlberg played it a lot better.
But do you have something against Leo?
Not
that's
really.
What it sounds like.
But he's just weird.
Leo?
Yes. Leo DiCaprio is not all up there.
I mean,
okay, hold on. I would say that Leo, one of the best actors of our generation. His
1000%.
His movies are okay. I would say that Jacob. First off,
Jacob, I'm sorry.
Jacob, I don't like present day Leo movies as much. Like, I don't like, but I like The Aviator. That's great. Yeah. The Departed is excellent.
Yes, agreed.
Revolutionary Road with Kate Winslet was really good. Like, he hits home runs. The Beach is good, but I don't know about this. There's a new movie out that he's in a preview for where he looks old and he wears like weird glasses. I don't know if it looks like my kind of movie. But what would you say in Minnesota, Gary?
I said Catch Me If You Can is a good one.
Oh, that's a great movie. Saw that in the theater, Hannah. Saw it in the theater. Titanic is. What do you not like about him, Jacob?
I don't like I like him as an actor. I think he's a great actor, but in this role, I don't think he could pull off the like super nice creepiness that Mark Wahlberg pulled off in this movie.
Yeah, he did pull off some creepiness.
I think he could. I'm not saying I want to replace Mark in this movie because he killed it. But I am saying I do think Leo could still pull it off because I haven't seen anything he can't pull off yet.
But but I will say this: if I'm gonna watch a movie, I would rather sit and watch a Mark Wahlberg movie now.
Well, we know that you have a crush on him, so that's...
I do. I love me some Mark Wahlberg. We were watching The Other Guys last night.
Oh, and, great movie.
He goes, they can't all be first-round picks. That was so funny. MTD loves that.
When's the last time you did a desk pop?
Oh, yeah. What's your first? It's Gene. Oh, Captain Gene. Just call me Captain. I don't host a kid show. I'm not the host of a kid show. Okay, Captain Gene. So funny. The desk pop. Oh, my gosh. I love it. Mark Wahlberg brings it, and he brings it in this movie. Mm-hmm. So now they're hot and heavy. Oh, almost too good.
Yes.
He's enjoying this. I mean,
it.
the perks of being an actor. You know what I'm saying? He gets to.
You just have to hope that he's actually acting and he's not actually pulling from a crazy part of his brain.
It's true.
I think he's pretty normal. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy, Hannah. I don't. Just download that prayer app, hello.com.
Pray with me.
What'd you say?
Pray with me.
Pray with me. Hello.com.
I'll be praying against you.
Come to Wahlburgers. Come to
I
Wahlburgers.
rebuke you.
But so they get on the Ferris wheel, and this is a scene that
Bro, you just skipped a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know where you're at.
Number one, we got to talk about. So they get hot and heavy. So they start kind of messing around, and things are good. And she's like, "Whoa, you're going a little too fast," which is funny. I'll say because we'll get to that. But we got to get to the point before they get to it's the roller coaster. Or is it the Ferris wheel or the roller coaster? Or
is it a roller coaster? I don't know.
It's a roller coaster. But anyways, the friend zone friend is
oh my god
with his school, and she just gives him a hug goodbye. And Mark Wahlberg's like, "Nah, you don't be touching my lady," and he just starts beating the snot out of this kid.
Wait, was this post roller coaster or pre roller coaster?
That was pre roller coaster.
You mean he got to do that on the roller coaster after almost killing her gay best friend?
I'm pretty sure it was pre roller coaster.
I don't know, Jacob.
You think I'm wrong? I thought it was pre roller coaster.
There's no way she's opening her legs on a roller coaster after he almost killed her boyfriend.
He's convincing.
Hannah, help us out here.
I'm researching. Hold on. I'm going through my.
I don't know, Jacob.
He's like, my bad. It was my bad. I didn't know who the guy was.
My bad.
No, it was pre. The roller coaster was before he got beat up. The friend got beat up.
Yeah, I think the roller coaster.
Okay.
Doing what he did on the roller coaster sealed it in his mind that that's his girl. He marked it right there. So he didn't like the gay guy.
How do you go from because the first meetup he kisses and goes to second base, and she's like, "Whoa, a little too fast. Calm her down." Dude, now we're on a roller coaster, and she's like, "Green light." Like
it's adding a little bit every time. That's what happened in the movie. That's what it was.
I have ridden many a roller coaster.
Now, before we get in this conversation, please keep it classy.
No, I'm gonna say I've ridden many a roller coaster, mostly with buddies. Yes. I've ridden a couple with my beautiful wife, and I've never thought about that on the roller coaster. I've never that into it.
Because that's it's because you're a good guy.
Thank you.
Brad, you want to go on a roller coaster?
What'd you say?
You want to go on a roller coaster?
He's asking you on a roller coaster, First Lady.
I think he's asking you.
Brad.
Oh, you're asking me? I hope you're asking Hannah.
No, he was asking you, man.
MTD, is Minnesota Gary asking me to go on a roller coaster? He said, I think so.
Hey, Brad, you want to ride the wild thing?
There's a reason why I'm not married, Brad. No, I don't want to ride the roller coaster listening to Bush sing the same song over and over in this movie.
Oh.
I thought you were asking Hannah. I thought you were asking Hannah. Why would
I'm a gentleman.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a gentleman, Brad. He asks you first.
He did. He said, "Do you want to go on a roller coaster?" No, Gary. I do not want to ride a roller coaster with you, especially now. Definitely ain't getting on a roller coaster with me now. So he makes it to, is that third base? I don't know how the bases work. Is that third?
That's about a third base.
Yeah.
He hits a triple at least, right?
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't done the home run yet.
No.
Now, I want to ask about the time in this movie because is there? I brought this up with Jacob. Is there only one clock in this mansion of a house?
What I said. Like, first of all, the man has a computer sitting there on the desk. Number one. Number two, you have to assume there's no other clocks in the house. And just his whole thing was like he just got a thing with time because he turned her watch clock back and then he turned the clock in the office.
But we also got to get back to Dad because I think this is before they go off to maybe it's after, but the daughter's friend comes in with Mr. Mark Wahlberg, and he is hardcore checking her out, like creepy.
Well, she's also bending over.
She is.
He knows exactly what she's doing.
Wait, are you talking about the stepmom? The stepmom's like enticing Marky Mark?
No. The dad and the daughter's friend.
Reese
when she comes in.
Friend.
Yeah. From Who's the Boss?
But again, who wouldn't be? You'd have to be gay if you didn't think she was hot when she walked in.
Brad.
But the creepy way that Mark is like looking at him while he's like, "Yeah, I see what you were doing." Like,
we didn't know at this point that Mark was crazy, so I was like,
no.
why are you watching this? I was confused.
This is where my wife got grossed out because she said, "Look at that old man looking at Alyssa Milano," and she said, "I would be so mad at you, Brad, if you were scoping out high school chicks." I'm like, I don't want to scope out high school chicks. Why am I in this story? I feel weird now.
Why you better not do this again?
Brad, you better not be scoping out them high school girls, Brad. I'm like, I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm riding the roller coaster with Gary. I promise you.
Oh man!
Hannah, is that a window behind you, or is that your shower?
It's a mirror.
Oh, okay. That was a shower curtain back there.
No, there's like this is to my bedroom. I have like an office connected to a bedroom.
Listeners, Hannah pods from her toilet.
I do not.
It's the echo. No, so you're right. He does like skis. It is very creepy. The dad is creepy. I'm telling you, he likes young girls, 100%.
It's almost like they. It's almost like they wrote this movie that originally the dad was supposed to be the creep, and maybe Mark Wahlberg was supposed to be the hero in it, and then they like did a rewrite and changed it up. That's what it feels like.
First hour of this movie, I was so confused why it was called Fear. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. But then Mark starts getting crazy.
What do I fear? I'm not scared. What do I fear? I would date Marky Mark.
The shrine. He'd make a shrine of you. I mean,
Oh my gosh. Hannah forever.
The fact
that part was
that tattoo scene was painful to watch because he's just poking himself with a dart and it's all bloody, and he like smears the ink in it,
just rubs ink in it,
and it looks. I'm like, you couldn't even spell forever. You had to spell
forever.
Forever,
bro.
It looks so stupid. We've jumped way ahead though. We need to get back. And he has an Eddie Haskell kind of way with the dad at first. Did you notice that? Like, oh, Mr. Walker. Oh, Mr. Walker. I'll have a home, Mr. Walker. I promise.
Oh, he was winning over the whole family, helping the stepmom plant trees, making friends with the dog, all the things.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite line is when he tells Mr. Walker, he goes, oh, Mr. Walker, your wife wants to be on my stick. I was like,
no. You have to give context to that because that just wasn't thrown out in conversation. So the dad finally figures out that, well, first of all, Reese Witherspoon gets a black guy in the process of Mark beating up her friend who's not gay.
Wait, Ken, you're forgetting.
You got that black guy.
You're forgetting something. So she comes in late a lot, and they're starting to be like, what's going on? And then the dad's like, hey, to the wife, let's go out of town for the weekend. Why would you do that? My wife was like, why are they leaving her home alone when she can't come in on time and she's got a boy? First off, my daughter brings in Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, nope, you can get him out of here. You ain't dating him. It's not happening. Go find Gary somewhere. But so that's what's led up to this, right? So when they're gone, they do it, right? That's when they do it.
He's like,
I don't think he's blacked her eye. He hasn't blacked her eye yet, right?
No, because he's like, I'm hanging out with my bros. It's like, well, I might be sleeping by then, but here's my door code. Just come on in.
The door code.
Ready.
You know that's coming back into play.
Right. And then, the deed goes and that's when the jealousy spikes to an all time.
Well, he leaves the Jimmy wrapper under the bed. I mean, why wouldn't he hide the Jimmy wrapper? Is that not what you call it?
Yeah, back in 1940.
Never heard those words next to each other in a sentence ever in my life, actually.
Is that what you call them, MTD? Are they Jimmies? You got to have a Jimmy?
Yeah, back in the 1940s.
Oh.
His Jimmy cap. That's what we call it, the Jimmy cap. He said never heard that.
Thank you.
You gotta, hold on. I'm looking it up. What's a Jimmy cap?
Don't look that up, Brad.
I'm looking it
up. I like what comes up.
He's in his 20s.
Jimmy cap is slang for a condom.
From when? Actually the 40s?
Yeah.
It's been used for some times. Other slang is called a Jimmy hat. He said new to me.
What about a Slim Jim?
Oh my gosh, I don't want that one.
Oh my goodness. And we're taking a turn.
This is going to be an explicit podcast. We've added Minnesota Gary. He's the new Andrew Dice Clay of our cast. So anyway, the dad finds the Jimmy Cap cup pack, and he's like, "Whoa!"
Once Reese Witherspoon is crying because she has a black eye, and then
he gave her a shiner, but it was an accidental shiner because
I also don't understand how she got it because it looks like he literally threw her, pushed her out of the way with his hand. That doesn't give you a black eye. You got to be straight punch in the eye, or really hard, really hard slap straight in the eye.
Well, she should be like, Dad, you see me, you should see my friend. He probably is sipping through a straw and wearing a diaper at this point, right? I mean, he got the crap beat out of him, man.
Yeah.
Did he poop himself? He had to have, right?
Oh, he definitely peed himself. That's for sure.
Oh, he's for sure. This guy's just wailing on him. So Reese Witherspoon's like, this guy's not, he didn't beat me, but yet she's getting roses and going straight to the garbage can. That's obviously you're mad at your boyfriend who hit you. You got to be more coy about this. If you're trying to hide it, you should be like, oh, I love these flowers. And then go to your room and go, this guy sucks. Right, Hannah?
I mean, no, because she didn't want to be around him. So she had to say that they broke up.
But she took him all the garbage anyways.
Eventually. But in the beginning, she didn't want anything to do with him.
And have we talked about Alyssa Milano's mom on here? She has one scene, but she's like, just do what you want to do. Have some fun. I'm like, golly, man, she is a terrible parent.
They're both pretty terrible parents, I'm going to be honest.
That's fair. That is
fair.
What
if Alyssa Milano's mom and Reese Witherspoon's dad dated?
It'd be a hot mess.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It all kinds of craziness going on.
Yeah.
We need to see Fear 2.
No, we don't.
He's 60 now. He's going, ugh, ugh.
Dude, I was so confused. So when the dad finally confronts crazy Marky Mark, and then he tells him, tries to threaten him, and then Dad leaves, and Mark starts gorilla pounding his chest, and I was like, what is he doing? Well, it turns out he's actually really smart for that, because then he could accuse the dad of hitting him in the chest and bruising him.
That was the most iconic scene of this movie, because I remember being in high school after this movie, and guys would be like that's just what they did.
This became a thing because of this movie?
Oh, it was definitely a thing. Guys would hit themselves like Mark Wahlberg. They'd be like, whew, whew. I mean, you see it now. It's like a thing. He said it, right, Jacob? This was when you started pounding your chest.
Yeah. Marky Mark was just trying to feel the good vibrations.
He was. Oh. So I used to do this imitation in high school because I think I've shared this before on here, but I'm going to share it again. So back in the days when we were in high school, there was a thing called pay-per-view, and there was a pay-per-view channel on your cable, and he came on, and he was like, you didn't know who he was at the time. He'd be like, hey, I'm Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch coming to you live on pay-per-view. And he had you could pay to watch a live Funky Bunch concert. Is that not crazy? I don't know who was doing that. But he was
Monkey
huge.
Bunch was a music group.
That was his
Yes.
music group.
Oh.
I'm Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
What did he sang?
Yeah, he rapped.
Yes,
He
he's
was
a
good.
rapper.
The song was called "Good Vibration."
He was Eminem before Eminem.
I don't think so.
He was
He
because
was
Eminem
Eminem.
made
He's
fun of
Eminem.
him because when they were on TLC together, Eminem, when Mark came out because they were doing TLC together, Eminem was like, "Oh, it's Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch," and Mark Wahlberg lost his crap over it because he hates being called Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Yeah, look it up. Listen to the song.
We're dropping some old man knowledge on these two, Jacob.
Right.
I wish I could find it, man. I got it. Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna see if there's a commercial.
All right. Well, after they break up and then get back together, Marky Mark goes to the house and is like swimming with the family or whatever. He's pushing the stepmom in the pool. Looks very sus. But then Daddy Boy comes home and he's like, "What is Mark doing here?" And the way that Mark kissed Reese Witherspoon while looking Dad straight in the eyeballs, I was like, "Oh boy, if I was Dad, I think I'd be grabbing the gun at that point."
Oh my gosh.
So disrespectful, man.
Oh gosh. Is this after he had the confrontation with him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He was like,
back.
"Oh,
They'd already broken up, I think, twice at this point, and he's back.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Walker, you're just mad that your wife wants to be on my stick."
That was that scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Mr. Walker would get killed by Marky Mark. First off, there'd be no chance he would win a fight.
True.
So yeah, I would be so mad if like my daughter was getting made out and he was like sticking his tongue in her mouth by looking at me. I'd be like, "Nah, dude." Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
Oh, I'd have to pull a gun or something. It'd be like, I don't want YouTube to shut us down for me saying that. But what happens after that, Hannah? I can't remember.
So then they leave on a little date or whatever. They're out, and her dad is super upset. So she comes home after they're hanging out, and she's like, Mark is asking her to go live with him. And she's like, "No, my dad would kill me if I did that." I'm like, "Honey, he's already going to kill you for running off from the house."
Oh, I'd be so scared to come back home, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, I've had this experience of coming home after getting caught being out when I wasn't supposed to. It went nothing like in this movie. But then Mark leaves. Well, she decides to get in her car and follow him. And then this is where she finds where Mark is living. And then she sees the scene with Mark making a move on her best friend. And she leaves crying and upset. Breaks up with him again. But then he shows up at her school and he has no idea that she knows. So he's like trying to be lovey-dovey, puts his hands over her eyes and she starts screaming. He's like, "Get away from me." And then Mark threatens the best friend. He's like, "I'm going to kill you. You better fix this. I don't know what you told her." The best friend's traumatized. I'm like, everyone's traumatized in this movie.
Can you just walk around, Minnesota Gary? Do you just walk around high school, or do you have to check in as a guest? Like, how does that work?
Nowadays, you have to check.
Nowadays?
I don't know.
Oh, there's no way. You wouldn't make it.
Back then, you could just walk in. Like, I never saw randos just standing in the halls when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, and we used to make fun of people who were older that would go to the prom. We're like, "Dude, you're like 20. Why are you at the prom? This is weird. You got a mustache and a beard. It's weird."
And we got to be clear here. It was more than just making a move on her friends because she was
I'm
into the other guy.
trying to,
Like he went
He was
extra
raping her.
creeper. Yeah, he's like, "She's mine now. Let's go."
But she was so drugged, she didn't know what was happening, right?
No,
Like,
she was freaked out. She was like, she didn't want
she
to.
was
and-
drugged. She said
yeah.
she was high.
Yeah. So now they're locked up in the house at this point, right? Or Mark Wahlberg comes.
Well, first, Mark went and murdered the best friend because he's like now full on obsession with Reese Witherspoon. And at this point in the movie, I was like, somebody's gonna die. And I had a feeling Gary, poor Gary. Wait, that was his name, right? No, what was his name? It was Gary.
It was Gary.
Yeah, I was like, I know
Aw.
Gary's gonna be the first one to go.
Why did Gary have to die?
I mean, he just had. My question is, why is Gary walking through the actual middle of the woods to get home?
Shortcut.
You're asking to be murdered.
Gotta be a shortcut.
They should have murdered Alyssa Milano first. I thought she was going to die in a car crash. I figured that's what was going to happen.
I thought for sure somebody was going off the cliff.
But we
Yeah.
have to also mention the dad goes to Marky Mark's house and kicks down his locked door and finds the shrine of all shrines
my
to his
God.
daughter. Like we
I
cannot
have that
skip the
shrine.
shrine.
I had that shrine at my house with Kristen. She came over. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Brad, I think you might be crazy, Britt." And I'm
Like
no.
he has like the daddy's girl bracelet, but then he puts his name on it.
Oh, Danny, is it Danny?
Danny's girl, and then he's got the photo of the family and like tapes his head over the dad's face on the picture. Like
That's so funny. Pre-Photoshop.
Yeah.
He kicked his door down pretty good too.
He did. The dad had some strength. Could you kick a door down? I don't think I could. I don't think I have the strength to just kick a door down.
No, I don't.
You could, Jacob. Jacob's strong. He could probably do it. I couldn't take a door down. I would pick up Minnesota Gary and use him as my battering ram.
I don't think he normally could, but he also at this point absolutely knew that she was in danger. And you can do a lot when you've got adrenaline coursing through your body. So in a moment like that, I actually would have no doubt I could kick a door down.
Probably right.
And then he trashes their house, which then sets up the scene of where this all leads towards the end.
Well, they show up, right? The whole hoodlum crowd, the whole oh my god, what's that movie? They're basically the oh gosh, what's that movie with the Boston people? Everyone used to like. It was a stupid movie. The director was terrible. Nobody liked the director. Oh my god. Hold on. Keep talking.
Yeah, basically they're all mad because their house all tore up and they're like, we need to find out who did this. And that's when Marky Mark comes down. He's like, I know who did this.
Exactly who did this.
Right. And he's like, let's go. And they all posse up in the car to go take care of business.
Mm-hmm. An eye for an eye.
Yeah, that's right.
So that the dad finds out that the way that they threw the dog head through the dog door because they were all in the house. And son's like whistling for the dog, and that was just so unnecessary. Why'd you have to chop the dog's head off?
They're like remind me of the Boondock Saints. Remember that movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Hannah doesn't. We should do that one on here, by the way.
Well, we should.
Boondock Saints 2, the sequel. But yeah, so now they're locked up, and the Saints show up. And
but I didn't understand what was the dad's job. What made him feel so important that he built that house with all that security?
He was just an architect, which was weird. I agree with you. Like, why?
Maybe just like technology, though.
No, I feel like he thought he was somebody. Like, you don't build a secure house like that unless you think something's going to happen.
But why couldn't they just change the code? Why didn't she remember, I gave him the code. Let's change it now.
He was literally, as the words were coming out of her mouth, he was putting in the code. There was no time.
Yeah. So they get in the house and all mayhem happens. He kills his friend, right? Shoots him in the head, which I was like,
because he specifically said that Reese was off limits and his friend was about to rape her. So
it's true.
True.
He was protecting Reese.
Bullet to the head at that point, I guess. He's like, okay.
So when the stepmom drills through the guy's hand as he was reaching through the door, I was like, oh. No.
The son straight up runs over one of them with the car.
Oh, that was
that boy's going to be traumatized.
Oh, he's going to be so traumatized. His life.
He killed a guy at this point. He has seen his dog's head chopped off. He's had to be the smartest one of the bunch and go run over to the now dead cop to grab his keys to start unlocking people's handcuffs.
He now turns into Jigsaw from this.
Hello, Minnesota Gary. We'd like to play a game. I have a dog head for you, Minnesota Gary. What if he is Jigsaw? What if that's the origin of John Kramer?
The trauma he suffered as a kid.
I saw my dad's dog get killed. Now I'm going to. Hannah, would you like to play a game?
No, the answer to that question is always no.
We need to get Hannah to do a Saw movie with us.
We should.
Ooh, yes.
No. Yeah. You know I don't do.
I know, but that's what makes it funnier when
funny for me.
Hannah, you've learned enough. Like Ashley makes this mistake all the time. Ashley's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't like those kind of movies," and then we're like, "You're doing that movie."
No, but it's not just like, "Oh, I don't like it." It's like I don't watch them.
We will spare you of Saw. We will spare you of Saw. We have a little bit of a conscience. Not much, but a little bit.
It wouldn't matter if you didn't have a conscience. I'm not watching it.
Plus, Ashley's a horror hound, so she likes this game.
Let her do it. She got it.
She would enjoy it. I mean, she I think she was sad that she wasn't doing Tiptoes with us. By the way,
What's Tiptoes?
that's the
it's an experience.
that's the movie we're going to be doing where Matthew McConaughey's family is all midgets or little people.
Oh yes.
Minnesota Gary will be on that pod. Have you watched it yet, Minnesota Gary?
No, but I've seen clips of like.
Yeah, you
Murder.
got to watch it. It's on Pluto.
About it.
Hannah, watch it. It's on Pluto. It will rock your world. It's
That's
a
a real
comedy.
movie?
That's just a comedy. It's not really funny though. All right. Don't want my kid to be no midget. All right.
I love Matthew McConaughey though.
You won't love him in this movie.
No.
Oh, I don't know if I want to watch it again.
We have to discuss too. So yeah, he blows the friend's head off, clean off. And then at some point, Reese stabs him in the back with this gigantic pole
Because
that
he's
puts like
about to shoot her dad.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is, how do you survive after that? You're not getting up and fighting people out there. That's like a 5 foot
I
hole.
was like, honey, if you're gonna stab the man, you better make sure he dies because you know at this point he is crazy. So you better make sure he's not getting back up. And I'm
Couldn't
sorry,
she go in the spine?
the back isn't gonna do it.
No, but like get him in the neck, like right there under the skull, like.
At least get him a couple times, like.
Yeah, that's the problem. They don't kill you enough in these movies. But I will say this: if somebody stabbed me in that spot, I'm down for the count. Like I'm not getting back up. Like I'm like,
Well, again-
oh my god, call 911.
Again, you're a good guy. This guy has no conscience, and also he's crazy, actually. So
So the climactic scene.
I knew someone was getting thrown out of the window. I just didn't know who it was going to be.
It was so cheesy. It was so terrible.
Quite possibly one of the worst endings of any movie we watched.
So
on
they
here, by the way.
quickly throw him out the window, and then it immediately turns into, you can totally tell this is just like a stuffed dummy that just limp as could be and just hits the rock. Like it was the stupidest throw out the window ever.
I agree with you, Jacob. It's terrible. It was terrible. Like it was like they just threw.
like 100 feet.
It's like they threw Minnesota Gary out the window. It was like.
Oh, thanks.
But it was a bad, yeah. So he's out, and then I'm thinking, then Jacob, you brought up a good point. Like the police are on the boat out there looking for him, but the body is on the ground by the house, right?
Yes, the
I
credits
think
are going.
what
They're in the
happened
boat
was, like-
searching the water.
Well, I think because the rock was like in the water, even though it was outside the wall, the gates of the house. But I think what happened is that the tide came in, and that rock is where the water was coming in, so it pulled him out. That's what I think it was.
But that's a weird play to play at the very end of a movie during the credits.
Yeah, it's stupid. They should have. I figured we'd seen one more scene where like it goes 5 years later, and then you see him like, "Hello."
What if they were setting up for number 2 and they just never made it?
Well, this movie was a pretty big hit, though. I mean,
They never found
they
him.
should have made the sequel. In my mind, they should have made a sequel.
No, homeboy was dead. He was dead. He was dead 2 times over. 3 times.
Well, I mean, Jason dies, but MTD trains Voorhees to come back all the time. So I don't know. Are you
But-
sure?
MTD did not train Marky Mark.
Oh, he should have. I train you how to never lose. You'll be killing like dad every time.
Oh, gosh.
You want to have pervy eyes? I'll teach you, Jason. Or Danny. What was his name? Danny?
David.
Danny.
Yeah.
David. Or Danny.
Which I think was a weird name for him. I don't know.
Okay, we got any reviews for this movie, Jacob?
That's what I'm looking up right now. I'm looking up some bad ones.
I have a couple good ones here. This is from Jessica Reimer. So bad, but so good. I love this movie. It takes me straight back to the 90s every time I watch it. She wrote this review on March 27th, 2025. It's still scary in 2025. Mark Wahlberg is a smoke show. The movie is still creepy, looking at it from a parent's perspective. Minnesota Gary. No, that was from Outlander fans in New York City. I'm glad this was written March 8th, 2025. I mean, these people are... one more, Jacob. This is from Alexa, who Alexa, our Crime Time reporter on the Hopecast Network. I'm 33 years old and never watched this movie, and it was insane. I loved it so much. It's amazing how many people write reviews for this movie that's almost 30 years old at this point.
I got some pretty good bad ones, and they all make you think. First one is from Lexi. It says, "Can he just be a normal and punch a wall and get therapy once a week?"
Right? Why is that so difficult?
That is true.
I don't know.
Another one I like. This is from Jake, not me. Inconsistent window strength is my least favorite trope, which is true because if you notice, they weren't able to break through any of the windows because they're all reinforced windows except for her bedroom window, which Marky Mark was so easily able to break through and fly out of.
But the guy, remember the one scene where there was a guy about to get in her bedroom window and she like basically either he broke through or she broke through and pushed him off the side and he fell off the house.
Okay, you are right there. You're right there. Yes. Marky Mark killed the acting, but what on earth is that? Why are they so what young people are all the time? I'm not going to say that part of it.
Wow. Rude.
Mark was playing himself. That was one of the 1-star reviews.
Don't say that. I don't
He
want
was-
him to be crazy.
And last one, this one says, "I asked my mom what's her favorite film, and this is her answer."
Oh,
Oh my
I
god.
think mom needs therapy.
Yeah. Let's do fun facts. Hannah, what's the fun facts that you want to drop?
Well, let's see. First, even though this story is set in Seattle and you see like the different Seattle landmarks, all of the filming was done in Vancouver
Ooh, Vancouver.
for whatever reason. Another fun fact is that Reese Witherspoon requested a stunt double for the scene on the roller coaster.
I'm glad she did.
I was going to say, don't blame her.
Yeah.
You know, if this was made today, that would be a trans. Oh, you
I'd
didn't
still go with
no
right.
trans. Minnesota Gary was the stunt double.
Oh.
Is that it? Is that the fun facts?
Well, I'll do one more. So, yes, Leonardo DiCaprio was considered for the role, but he's actually the one who suggested that Mark Wahlberg do it instead of him.
Oh, he
So
suggested.
he referred him. Yeah.
That's the same way of I don't like that. I don't because it's like if there's a girl that likes you, you're like, you know what? I think Minnesota Gary should date her. That means you have you don't think she's hot at all. Because any guy, if Leo thought this movie, because this is pre-star Leo. This is not Titanic Leo. And he's
Right.
turning
I feel
down
like he's
roles.
always been pretty selective with his movies, though. Like, he's never just taken anything just to take it.
He's like, "I'm not doing this movie, but I got a guy for you. Go reach
Yeah.
out to him."
I'm not going to date her, but you can, Marky Mark. I'll date her. I need a new movie. I got to get rid of the Funky Bunch. Meanwhile, the Funky Bunch are like working at Walmart today. Probably they're like,
Good.
we got a price check on aisle 5.
Come on.
We got the guys over here ordering Jimmy Caps. We don't have Jimmy Caps in here.
I never want to hear those two words together again.
Jimmy Cap. Minnesota Gary, movie torture, movie gold.
This one's a tough one because, I'm going to do movie gold.
Okay, movie gold. First lady, movie torture, movie gold.
Okay, this is also really tough because I don't like it, but I feel like for what it was a good movie. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I don't know. I might have to
figure
go
it out.
movie gold because I think like for what it is, it's good. I will never watch it again. Made me very uncomfortable. Also brought back a lot of trauma from my past. But
Sorry.
what it is, I think it was good.
We're trauma bonding.
We are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love that. Love that journey for us.
Movie torture, movie gold.
I'm in the same boat. I was like, you feel dirty giving this a good rating, but like all things considered, like the acting, everything was good. So it was a movie gold. I'm probably in the same boat as Hannah. Ain't never watching it again, but I got to give it for what the movie it was.
I feel like if you're a person who just watches fear to like go to sleep, or you just want to sit, something's
You're a
wrong with you, man.
psychopath. See a psychiatrist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
For me, this is a rarity. Hannah, I swear this is the last time we had MTD needs to watch this movie because anytime we all go 4 golds, you got to watch it. We did that with we've done it 3 times now. The Stupids,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Life Stinks,
Yep.
Yes.
and now Fear.
And
Hannah,
Fear.
you've been on a winning streak lately. You're the only person. Oh,
I'm so
MTD saw it years ago.
Oh, well, MTD, what do you rate it?
Yeah, movie
No.
torture, movie gold.
Serious?
He probably can't. He saw it years ago. He blocks movies out. He's like, eh.
We
Don't be
jogged
rude.
his
He's got a
memory.
good memory. Did you watch it in theaters, MTD?
How awkward would that be being in a crowd of people watching this in
Silver.
a theater?
Oh my
Ugh.
gosh. He's
Oh.
like,
About as awkward as watching 50 Shades of Grey in the theater with other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
true. He's like, saw it. I inspired it. It said inspired by MTD. In his next book, he's gonna write about how he created the character. Was it David on Fear?
David.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So we had 4 golds, which is rare.
It is.
Have,
Right.
have we ever had a 4 golder? I mean, usually it's just us 3.
Yeah.
This is a,
No,
this is a 4
Yeah, I don't
gold.
think so.
It's first
It's a
4.
4 gold, and Gary legit watched it. So I mean, he gave it a gold. Well, for Minnesota Gary, always good. You're here every time. We like that you watch
Thank you.
movies. You bring honor to the Gary name. For the first lady, for Jacob, my name is Brad. Make sure, first off, before we leave, make sure you leave us a review on iTunes and Spotify. And for MTD, we want to say thank you, MTD, for always being a part of the show. Leave us a review, like and subscribe. Make sure you do that, guys.
If you're single.
We're commanding it. And if you're single, slide into our DMs and we'll decide if we want to let Minnesota
We have,
Gary
we
know.
have a couple of options on the show. So just, put
Yeah.
yourself out there. You never know who you might get matched with.
You can get Hannah, you can get Gary, or you can get producer Gary. Either way, you'll end up on a roller coaster. I don't know which one.
No. We don't do that here, Brad.
Anyway, for my friends at Movie Torture, we will see you next time. That was great. That was a good episode.